My aunt, the one who didn't approve of my sneaking into the movie, came to visit us from Fairbanks. She and her husband had, out of university, had gone up and been pioneers in Alaska in the 20s and helped found the University of Alaska. And so she prevailed on my mother to let me go back to Alaska with her, since my father was in the Aleutians, and then mother would only have my sister to deal with. So the famous Cap Lathrop, who was the gold baron of Alaska at the time, flew down and got us in his private plane in Seattle and flew us up to Fairbanks. Of course, that was before Alaska was a state, and I went to school there. But it was, you had to pass these very stiff territorial exams, and so I could have skipped a grade when I came back, but my parents wouldn't let me do that, which I think was wise. But the kids who I would write to from Fairbanks had visions of me living in an igloo, and they just couldn't believe that we were living in a Cape Cod house and in Fairbanks, I guess, but we were. So.
How long were you in Alaska?
That's very easy to remember because when we went up, it was the day that President Roosevelt died, and we came out by boat through the Inland Passage on the day they dropped the first atomic bomb. So those days are etched in my memory. It wasn't a long period of time, but it was enough to have let me skip a grade. My father would fly up because he was attached to the Navy Air Squadron in Kodiak, Alaska, and he would fly up, and we had a summer home out on Lake Harding outside of Fairbanks, and where, because of permafrost, there was no plumbing. We just had an outhouse, and we shared with a neighbor next door, and the only way you could tell if it was occupied was there was a flagpole, and you would run the flag up if it was occupied. And so as kids, we got to be nasty, and we'd go out and run the flag up and just leave it up, and that would cause great consternation because no one knew whether or not we were really serious, whether it was available. And we had no refrigeration, and so we had a ice box, literally, piece of ice in a box on the back of the house, and in the night the bears would get into it and take our food, and so it was. We did go to school on, just for the heck of it, on a dog sled, but that was about the size of it.